Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of Flesh Wound Farce, where we review and discuss your and our favorite comedy films. This is the world's first and only combination trivia host and professional wrestling announcer of Chilean descent that currently resides in Southern California, Ozzy V. And with me, as always, on this program, first in the Northern California Bay Area, world famous juggler Greg Larson. How you doing, Greg?
Fantastic. How about yourself, Ozzy?
I'm doing pretty well. Got a new member of the family that I'll get into shortly. Todd, Flesh Wound producer Todd, also with us as well. How you doing?
Uh, Good. Not sure I want to hear about your member, but let's get into it.
No, everybody wants to hear about this member. See, I spent some time at the old Disneyland over the weekend with the family, and the boys surprised me by buying us our newest member of the family, our latest addition. I like to introduce everybody to R2V2.
Nice.
This is a silver and black R2 unit that I've dubbed R2V2 for R2V being Vegas 2. And I will say that, understand this, that if the Raiders do not have a losing record since the existence of R2V2, this will mean a lot to our family. That's all I got to say. Thank you. No comment, Todd. I can see the smile on your face. What is it? Out with it.
Well, it'll make a good replacement for your other trophy.
And it's fitting because our two units often look like a waste bin and the Raiders are garbage. So
that is ridiculous and such an insult. Like, you can't really see this on screen, but over there I have a couple of Lego R2 units and they're pissed right now. One of them's looking right at me. I don't even think I didn't preset that. All right, ladies.
So does that mean he's a Dodgers fan? Because he's got the D in it too?
Maybe, perhaps.
And he's got the blue and white?
Well, I'm not sure. Moving on now. This week, we do have the pleasure of reviewing and discussing a recently released film, that being Thelma. And this was released on June 21st of this year, 2024, rated PG-13, with a runtime of 98 minutes. Todd, do you have a trailer available?
Yes, sir.
What's your plan for the day?
The usual. Hello?
Grandma,
Danny? You sound so strange.
I'm in jail.
Oh, my God.
Mail $10,000 to this address.
$10,000?
How did you think this was real?
Mom, you thought it was real too.
Oh my God. She was very convincing.
Well, she was scared, your mother. We were all scared.
I wasn't quite as scared, just for the record. You gotta tell the police.
They're no use.
They contact people at random using telephone listings and social networking sites.
Like Facebook?
Sure, by Facebook.
Well, shouldn't Zuckerberg be able to fix this? What about my money? Am I supposed to just let them have it? I'm gonna get it back. I need a ride.
My mother is at large.
Why are we stopping at malls?
To get a gun?
Do you even know how to use it?
How hard can it be? Idiots use them all the time.
God.
Things happen to people as they age. Weird, crazy things.
We're old, diminished. The least we can do is take care of each other.
She's a tough cookie.
When she says her mind is something, there's no stopping her.
My grandson's parked a block away. I don't have much time.
You left your grandson in the car?
But he's 24. We all have our good days and our bad days.
And what's today?
We'll find out. Thelma!
Grandma?
Hello?
No, sorry. I'm just looking for my grandma. Sorry.
And that was the trailer for Thelma, again rated PG-13 with a runtime of 98 minutes. Written and directed by Josh Margolin, starring June Squibb, Fred Hengener, I mispronounced that, I apologize, and Richard Roundtree, also known as John Shaft.
I was going to say, yeah.
Absolutely. So interesting story about this film. It is loosely based on actual events. Josh Margolin, who was the writer and director, did have his own grandmother get a phone call exactly verbatim how it was in the film. However, he was able to intervene before any financial damage was done. He was not, how do you say, unavailable at the time that they called him, so he was able to prevent anything from happening, but it just gave him the idea to write the movie. And actually, very interesting is he gave June Squibb old home movies of his grandmother so she could learn how to be more like his own grandma for the movie. And I'm sorry, the Fred Hetchinger. I apologize. I scribbled that out with my own terrible writing.
Just say it with confidence. No one will ever call you out.
Hetchinger. And moving on now. I'm sure he's very upset. All right. So initial thoughts on this. When I first saw the poster for this, it was I was just scrolling on the AMC app, just seeing what was coming soon. And when I saw the poster for it initially, I thought it was actually starring Roseanne Barr, just because the shape and just more like the glasses and the hair reminded me of Roseanne Barr. But when I clicked into it and I read the story of it, I became immediately interested. I let Greg and Todd know. Todd, I think, had already seen it.
I had already seen it.
But I had mentioned this would be one that we should review, so that's where we are reviewing it today. Glad we were able to do so. We'll get into that shortly. Greg?
Yeah, so when you'd sent me over the trailer, I watched it, and I think before responding to you about my thoughts, I had sent it to my grandmother, and I was like, you would enjoy this. So my grandmother and she is one of my best friends, hands down. We're very close. So like this movie, I felt, it really, a lot of parts of it hit really close to home on the relationship between the two. And on top of that, my grandmother loves when scammers and telemarketers call, because she will give them a hard time in return. Oftentimes, answering the phone, talking to them for a little bit, and then she'll just put the phone down in the couch cushion for a few minutes, and after a while, pick it back up. Yeah, okay, and then put it back down. So I knew she'd have a great time with it.
You got to watch Beekeeper with her.
Beekeeper? I don't know.
The Jason Statham one. It's the same premise, but with a little bit more Statham.
A little bit more action, mate.
Gotcha. So I was stoked to see this movie, and I made sure to watch it with her. And she actually gave her review, which I'll be giving her score at the end as well.
All right, fantastic. Now, Todd, you had already said you'd seen this by the time I even mentioned it.
Yes, but I didn't tell you why I'd seen it and why I was in such a rush to see it.
Okay.
My grandmother also got the same call verbatim. And because they do it general, your grandson, so they pick which one it was.
Right.
Shockingly, it wasn't me. It was her young. I'm not going to say his name, but he
sure. Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, so then they called my mom and his mom, and I think his actual mom they couldn't get a hold of her, so they got a hold of my mom. So it was all thing. Luckily, like she even if she wanted to give money, she couldn't do it right then. So by the time I was like, yeah, you're good, yeah. And I almost said his name, and by that time my cousin had shown up.
So what's interesting is after we finished the movie, we did talk about like, hey, if ever you get this and you're concerned it may be me, we'll have like a code of some sort to like cash it in. And the thing that made me I hated myself for doing it is we came up with something that I told her, I know it's going to be okay because it's something that happened prior to when the internet existed. And I was like, oh, that hurts.
Well, anybody that had seen the trailer for this, I showed my girlfriend the trailer. She wanted to see it right away. We actually just got done watching it a little bit ago. It kind of seems like it has something that's attractive for everybody to see, which is, I guess, unique. Go ahead.
I know. I was just saying, it was a pretty big thing that was going around for a minute, probably about 20 years ago now. I do remember this being like a thing, this particular scam.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. And so seeing this story come out of it and the spirit of the main character in question was fun to see. There was a lot of fun moments in here. Um, a lot of funny moments having to do with uh, slightly older generation and technology issues, which is a real thing. And it was just funny to see that manifested in a comedic fashion. Uh, the deaf, or she wasn't deaf, but when they were in a particular house and there was a gun that went off at the floor. I'll just leave it at that. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not spoiling anything here, but that's just the one thing for those that have seen the film. Uh, gun floor. That should be. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
It's
Yeah.
and the way that played off was fantastic.
Yeah, and you know what I do got to say with the tech, like my another moment that kind of had a great connection with my grandmother during this is my grandma is a lot like her, where sure I've like shown her how to do a few things, but then when you let her off to do whatever she's doing, like you saw her in this movie just like scrolling through doing all kinds of stuff. She's very tech savvy, and so I think she played that like early on she played that role of like I'm gonna seem a little bit more helpless than I am, but really I got my stuff together. So with a little help though. So that character was great all around. But one of my without spoilers, I'm just gonna say Stary Gary is just phenomenal. And what's funny is like afterwards when we're driving home, my wife was trying to tell me like, "Oh, I wish we got more story on him. I wish we knew more about him or he had more of a moment." I go, "No. No, that is not the case because much like Pinky and the Brain, everyone was like, we need more Pinky and the Brain." And they were good as a one cartoon, in Animaniacs, but too much of it, you don't need all the extra, so
I'm going to
so
disagree with this analogy right here.
I just felt like
I
having the
want
one
Pinky in the Brain for 30 minutes.
no, it's too much. It's too much, and I just
That's
felt
my
like
line.
it was good for who he was, how he was. He was hilarious, and we didn't need any more than that. He was perfect.
Absolutely. And Todd.
My favorite moment.
Yes.
All right, I'm surprised neither of you dropped this one because the whole movie's hilarious. It's one of the funniest movies I've seen so far this year. Mine was the running gag. I think I know her.
Oh yes, that was brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah, that would every time. I was like, here we go.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. But I had a bunch of stuff written down, a lot of stuff to choose from. Just a fun movie throughout.
You got any others you want to throw up?
Okay, we can go around two here. This wasn't necessarily what we had been mentioning, and yes, so there's a moment when the what would be the daughter of Thelma and her husband, who's played by the guy from Agents of Shield.
Yes.
But I apologize. I'll get a name here shortly. They're in the GPS, and first he says, "No, I'm driving the speed limit. We're a law-abiding family." And then he reaches over his first. But the gag that got me, and this isn't really spoiling it because you could watch it, and if you're paying attention, the beats of it work really well. But it says, "It wants me to make a left." And then you look up at the traffic, and I've been there so many times, and it's the same area that I drive all the time in. And it resonated so well with me specifically that so much so my girlfriend didn't understand why I was laughing that hard. She's like, "It wasn't that funny." I was like, "No, you don't understand. It is that funny because
I'm just
all the time."
I'm gonna guess she does that a lot.
No. It's more
What?
it's more myself quoting movie quotes, and I'm sorry, Clark Gregg. It's the guy from Agents of Shield. Proper respect, but it's more the movie quotes where I'll say something, and then she'll look at me. What was I can't remember which quote it was when she had said it, and I just started laughing. Oh, it was the water pisser line from Airplane. She hates Airplane, right? And then all of a sudden, like I hear something in the kitchen. She goes, "Oh, what a pisser!" And I just start laughing hysterically, and she doesn't know why. And she's starting to get really mad with me. And I'm like, "Hold on, wait." And of course, I have the movie downloaded on my phone in case of emergencies. I'm like, "Just wait, hold on a second, hold on a second." And I scroll the part, and I go like, "Watch." I play it. He says, looks at the camera, and says, "What a pisser." And she just kind of gets angry, but she knows she can't say anything.
Right.
I was like, "You said you hated the movie, yet you're
you-
quoting it yourself."
Did you put up the finger?
Oh, it's censoring you. It's
Yeah,
not
it is.
allowing it.
It is.
No, that hadn't happened yet. She
Got it.
wouldn't watch. She had not watched enough to be irritated at that.
Got it. Got
Yeah.
it. All
Yeah.
right. All right.
So getting into, I'm sorry, did you guys have some other moments?
Oh, there's so many. Todd,
yeah.
do you want to go ahead?
No, I was just going to put over because we mentioned the late great Richard Roundtree, but also Malcolm McDowell, perfect sleazy guy at the end.
Right.
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 Exactly.
And I got to say, the moment where Thelma's giving her grandson a hard time about the messy car, and who raised you like this, and he's like, your daughter.
Right.
And my mom and the grandma that I watched this was my mom's mom, so it was very fitting and fun. So you must have gotten it from your father's side.
All right. So going into ratings, I thought this was not only funny and intriguing, it was one that you could really lose yourself in, and its pacing didn't seem like anything was really slow. Everything that was going on was for a purpose. So it's definitely a 5 from me. It's 98 minutes, but it goes by so quickly, and you're completely invested the entire time. Like from you feel the endearing qualities of the character, and you're just invested and want to see what happens next. And that's what I also love. I mean, it's when stuff's predictable, it's whatever, but when it really kind of gives you a curveball, it's like, there you go. Congratulations. Good job, guys. But yeah, a 5 for me for sure.
Yeah, this I'll give my grandma's review first. She said she told me that it she goes, you probably wouldn't understand because a lot of it doesn't connect to you, but it spoke to me in a lot of ways that I truly I connected with, and she said that she does got to give it an 8 out of 10. So I guess for our show it'll be
It would be
4 out
it'd
of
be a
5.
4. Yeah.
Good show. She really enjoyed it. She thought it was funny. She thought it had a good pace to it, and she felt a good connection to the characters. And I think that that's one of the brilliant things about this film is it speaks to and this is my perspective of it at this point. It speaks to a generation that's often just seen as the elderly, can't really get by, and it's like, hey, let's give them some credit and let them show their abilities, that they're not just someone that can't be capable of things. So we often have things connect to us in our generations and our age groups, I should say, that inspires us. It's like, oh, that's something that I want to be, or like gives me hope, or gives me support. So to see that for somebody else that doesn't get that representation was really great. And the connection between the grandmother and the grandson, as I've mentioned, I have a really personal connection with. And this movie, I think, has a great balance of heartwarming connection that doesn't feel over the top and crazy, while still having that goofiness, that it does go back and forth between a heartwarming film and a really funny experience. So I there's no way I could give this anything but a 5. I love the film. It was funny. It was sweet. I will definitely be watching this again.
Todd?
I'm a 5. I really did enjoy this. I like everything you guys already said. It's fun. It's got heart. It's a good time. Yeah, I mean, who does want to see Shaft have one last adventure?
Indeed. It was a good one for him to go out. Was this his last before?
It's his last one released. So I don't know order of film, but as far as I know, this is the last thing that he was in that's come out.
All right. Well, there was your review of Thelma. Currently, still probably available in theaters at this time. At this time, recording, that being July 21st. It is an independent film, so you might have to do a little digging to find some theaters. It might not be in your area, but as soon as it hits streaming, highly recommend checking it out if you have not done so already.
It is also currently on premium VOD if you want to pay a few extra bucks. So
okay, well there you go. If you can't find it in your area, or you just want to sit at home.
Yeah, if you don't want to go to the movies, you can watch it at home.
There you go. All right, so that concludes this episode. But before we head out, just a quick announcement that this Saturday, that would be July 27th. I apologize, not July 27th. I got my dates mixed up.
No, July 27th is correct.
July 27th is correct?
Yes, this is today.
This Saturday is July 27th?
Yes.
Today is July 22nd when this is being aired?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. Then I can say this right now. Okay. This Saturday, July 27th, I'll be providing my ring announcing and commentary services for 3PWA Reality Check, which is coming to you live from the UFC gym in my close to hometown, La Mirada, California, where basically that was my Toys R Us. That was my movie theater. That was my Bank of America account that I signed up for in 2001, happened right on the other side of the shopping center. So, it's going to be kind of surreal, but check that out. 3PWA. You can get tickets right now. And
Flesh Wound on production. Yeah.
Todd will be there too. So you can stop by and say hi to Todd.
You don't have
or you don't have to. You can just ignore him. But you can say hi to me.
Bring me a taco. There you go. You can talk to me.
Indeed. There will be funnel cakes.
You're not wrong,
and of course, I'll be hosting trivia Monday at the Lake Forest Rush Bar and Grill at 6:30, Tuesday at the Brewery in Placentia at 7 o'clock, Wednesday in Los Alamitos at Griffin's Grill at 7:30, and Thursday at the Honey Pot Meadery in Anaheim, 7:30 as well. Always free to play in prizes for the top winning teams. And do you guys have anything else before we head out for the evening?
No, just if you're lucky enough to still have grandparents around, give them a call.
Absolutely. All right, so for world famous juggler Greg Larson and Flesh Wound producer Todd, I'm Ozzy V, and we'll see you next week right here on a brand new episode of What's with the thumbs up? You had to do was it the finger gums?
I'm trying
to ignore it this whole time. It was just still like this. It's like, what are you doing? Let me close that again. It just bothered me. Okay, once again, Flesh Wound producer Todd, world famous juggler Greg Larson. I'm Ozzy V, and we'll see you next week right here on a brand new episode of Flesh Wound Farce.